Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. We're taking another look here at SUI, seeing what's going on. Responding very poorly to Bitcoin's recent price action. Already on the pullback before that, all that nonsense happened with Bitcoin shooting up and down. About a 4% correction from top to bottom in both ways. So every high leverage long, high leverage short got absolutely destroyed. So unfortunately, that's going to be par for the course. If we take a look at our analysis from yesterday, we can see that expectation of the price pulling back to either 216, 217, or as a secondary potential worst case scenario with a bounce off 206. We can see here as well, that's pretty much happening right here as we speak. There's potential, of course, for the price to come up here, but we can presume that 217 will be the new resistance now that we are below it. Okay, so that's just kind of how it's supposed to work. It's never exact science, but we didn't bounce off this level here as hoped for. And again, 217, if you're kind of unfamiliar with my analysis from yesterday, that's roughly the previous all-time high. And generally speaking, the previous all-time highs will commonly work as new lows, but that didn't happen. Price just ran straight down here. So again, you got to also recognize too, SUI is one of the lowest performing coins today as far as pullback or pulling back the most. And a lot of that is based on the fact that it's just so massively overextended. Coins that have this large of a continuation, if you will, without retracement will typically pull back the strongest when things go awry. And that's what's happening right now. So that does mean, and that's pause for consideration here, or concern rather, that we could see further downside based on the simple fact that Bitcoin is maintaining its range. And a lot of times when these little reset buttons get hit with Bitcoin, it's a good indicator of how strong a coin is. Not to say SUI isn't strong, don't take offense to that. I'm literally just saying right now at this exact moment, it is due for a continuation either lower or at the very least probably range bound in this little area here from 207 to 217. Let's take a look at some liquidation levels first, kind of see what's going on. This could help us identify the overall big picture and just kind of recognize some few back-end things we may not be seeing. So we can see here, of course, the last 7 days is probably the last 24 hours of trading. We have a tentative bottoming, okay? Basically, when you see a lot of liquidation in a specific area, that tells you that there's a lot of support there. So while the price action will typically gravitate towards that, that support level could hold too. So right here we can see 208. That's roughly where the price action's at right now. 204 rather. $2 to 204. We have, I don't know, somewhere in the range of about $1 billion in liquidation there. And it's actually pretty small, all things considered, as to how much we've seen in the past. The good news is short positions are either securing profits or starting to close their position. So we're starting to see less volume up here at the 240, 250 range. And that does imply that potential for further downside is greater. It doesn't mean we're going to see 160 to 140. I think that's a pretty low probability at this point, but just know if that were to happen, there's a lot of liquidation there. And as we can see here, this is actually very healthy. We can see the delta is finally starting to taper off and come back down. And again, if you look at Bitcoin, just say for example, for today's Bitcoin, if we look at the current delta for Bitcoin, it's still extremely high even after all that craziness just happened. So Bitcoin is massively overextended. It's receiving all of the inflow here. If you look at here in Bitcoin dominance, it is skyrocketing. We're basically in local high territory right now. We actually just passed our threshold of 58.7%. That's the highest we've seen in the last 3 or 4 years. Okay, so it really just implies that altcoins are suffering right now, and that they are probably due to continue a little bit lower until this changes. All that being said, though, let's take a look here at open interest. This is right about 218. That reinforces the resistance level for us at that 217 mark. So with a lot of open interest there, it does imply that there's probably a lot of people underwater right now. And just more importantly, that's construed as a resistance when you are below it. So at this point, this guy here, this upper level, probably going to see a resistance there. If the price does end up running up, I think it is pretty safe to presume we're going to see a rejection off that level. Again, that's just what the technical analysis is telling us here. If you got offended by watching this, you should go watch some other Moon Boy that's going to tell you what you want to hear. It's really just not what I do. I just like to kind of provide best practice in situations like this. It's never foolproof, but I tell you, my odds of success are pretty high. Generally speaking, I trade around 80% with my swing trading. I don't day trade anymore, and my swing trades, of course, I usually average in and average out too. So there's a lot of little caveats there. It's not just black and white as you might think. Things don't just go up and down. They can go sideways for a long time. And 95% of trading is finding good opportunities not to trade. Really, we're just looking for reasons to not take a trade with this coin. Really, is what it boils down to. Because if there's glaringly obvious signs, then we may want to consider going in that direction. Right now, it seems obvious the price is going to continue lower. That's just me personally. Let's take a look here. Daily time frame, RSI and money flow index still in good shape. Keep in mind we're still honoring our ascending trend line, our macro trend. So please understand, if I say the price is going to go down for SUI, I don't mean it's going to go down to zero, and you shouldn't start crying about that. You should be happy that we're still in a bullish uptrend. It's a very positive sign. So regardless of us seeing some shifts in momentum, it doesn't imply that we're gonna run towards the low $1 mark or whatever. I promise you, that's a very low likelihood. I'd be surprised if that happens. Regardless, we're honoring our ascending trend. We look at our moving averages here. We're over the 20-day SMA. That's like the initial trend setter. Till we close below that, I don't really have any cause for concern that this uptrend has discontinued. But it is very natural for the price to contract like it's doing right now before it legs up again. But you got to recognize this coin has been legging up consistently, and there's going to be a point in which it's going to have to slow down eventually. Okay, I realistically think that those who are throwing out $5 to $10 by end of year are just full-heartedly mistaken. Again, that's just strictly from a technical standpoint. I don't really look at the fundamentals, and I recognize some people are going to fault me for that, but generally speaking, I don't really need to. There's some times where it's important, don't get me wrong. There's occasions where it can happen beneficially, but at this point, this is strictly just the market moving in a really weird way right now, and we got to respect that and understand it. Anyways, MACD is trying to diverge, hasn't fully yet, so we're seeing some cracks in the glass here, or some kinks in the chain, whatever the term is, but it hasn't fully happened yet, right? We're still above the more important areas. As we look at the 4-hour time frame here, we're starting to print a doji candle. That could imply reversal, so we might be bottoming out here. This is a tentative support level. If you're not familiar with what this is basically a previous daily candlestick closure for our previous all-time high at 207. We've also seen some confluence there with some moving averages there on that time, such as the 50-day SMA and that 0.5 fib level. So we got a lot of reasons why this 205 to 207 range should hold. But again, just from a bigger picture here, what's going on in the back end with Bitcoin dominance being so high, this coin being massively overextended, I really think we might see a little bit further downside. But this is one of our last line of defenses. Prior to that, of course, $2 even as a round number. That's right close to our golden pocket there, that 0.618 fib level. So we look here. This is another sign that I'm expecting price to continue lower. And last time I said this, the price took off, by the way. So this is not a guarantee. However, generally speaking, when you break below 50 on the RSI, you're underneath the resistance, which reaffirms that the price does recover, that we see rejection off 217 and then come back down. So again, I think we're still under key level resistance there. That's kind of reinforcing the fact that we have lost some support. We can also see the 20-day SMA is above us. Generally speaking, when that happens, you want to just kind of keep your eyes open and recognize that we're not just blindly bullish anymore, okay? Again, we can close back up above that. It won't take too much to get there, honestly, but at this point, it's just kind of a sign letting us know that further downside is probable. Again, this is a 4-hour time frame. It's a transitionary time frame letting us know really that we've lost some important areas and that we are below some key levels. We can also see our local point of control at about 223. That's working as a resistance. The price came up to get rejected off that. We'll likely reject again here. We're respecting so far a descending trend. While it isn't aggressive or crazy, we'll keep an eye out on that too. We'll pay attention to that guy. So generally speaking, we don't really see a lot of positivity here. We look at the Ichimoku cloud. We actually have every single sign here letting us know that a short position is in play, and or you want to consider a short, you do not consider a long at this point. Because again, we've broken below the cloud. That's like a really good moving average, really, that kind of helps us understand what the overall trend is. So from a smaller time perspective, we've lost the ascending trend. It's not stochastic, it has the same colors as it, but we can see the conversion line on the baseline. When the conversion line is below the baseline, it basically tells us momentum has shifted down. Lagging span, free and clear, lets us know that if you have a short position open, you keep it open because you're more likely to find profit to the downside. So these are all signs to not take a long position. So if you're going to hear anything, hear that. But again, this coin is really, really good about just instantly bouncing off a key level support and as if it never happened. So I wouldn't be surprised the price recovers. But if it does, just know 217 should be the new resistance. Okay, that's generally what I'm expecting. So if I were to consider shorting this coin, 217 would make sense. Again, there's a lot that can change between now and then. I'm not proposing to take a short there. I'm just saying that if we come to that level and Bitcoin's still kind of on the edge of nonsense and Bitcoin dominance is still ridiculously high, then I think we might see a pretty significant pullback at that point. Either way, we'll keep you posted. I'll post our playout charts here on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord here soon, so you can kind of keep an eye on that. And obviously, I appreciate you watching, and thank you so much again for being an awesome part of my life. Appreciate the support. Minus the occasional SUI troll, this community's been very awesome. So like the video if you get a chance. Really appreciate that. And obviously feel free to hear your comments, the link down below, if you want to become part of our Trading Academy community or signals group. Congrats to our community too. We took some nice healthy profits here recently. Solana long, near protocol long, and then of course we had a Bitcoin short prior to that as well. So we're not taking monstrous profits because again, these are just 5 to 10x leverage trades. We're pretty safe and conservative with our trading style. All right, folks, thanks again. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.